We're going to start right here in the middle and then circle all the way down here in front.
Ready? Tim May, Columbus Dispatch. Hey, Urban.
Hi, Tim.
Just what was your reaction to getting the news about Joey? I think you've had that for a while, Joey and Jalen and stuff. And what was their reaction, and how do you go on at those spots?
Well, I kind of knew about this for a little bit. It was the university has, athletic department has the policies that we expect. I'm 100% fully supportive of it. Whether it's a sprained ankle or stuff, you try to create a culture where teams know how to move forward and not concern yourself. You know, when we lost Braxton 10 days before the first game, you lose JT a week before the Big Ten championship game, you push forward. You know, we're pushing forward. The comment I did make, and we are playing an extremely talented team, very well-coached team on the road in a tough environment. However, we have recruited very well. And so get going, move forward.
Coach, we'll go right down here on our left in front.
Yeah, Coach. Steve Hellwagon with 24/7 Sports. The question I have, you've been dogged by this question since you won the championship, is how do you avoid complacency? How do you avoid all the pitfalls of being the defending champion? Are you concerned about the climate, the culture of your program to have these kind of issues that you really didn't deal with when you won the national championship kind of creep in now?
Oh, sure. Every coach is concerned about that. There's no perfect team. There's no perfect program, and everyone deals with stuff. You know, when you're Ohio State or some of these other big-time programs, stuff becomes a major deal, and this is. However, the indicators that you look for first are academics. In academics, we have the highest GPA or highest graduation rate in the history of Ohio State football. You know, I don't want to just buzz right over that. So that's one indicator that our guys are locked in. Second thing is the weight room. I have the best strength coach in America, and we evaluate everything. And then the social element, that's obviously the one that you keep one eye open. And we've been relatively good. So you're watching it. Every team's different, and every day is different. How I approach this team tomorrow is what I do is I have a little cabinet I've learned over the years. Coach Marotti is my right-hand man. While I'm here, he's with our team. While I'm doing stuff, whatever I have to do, he's with the team. So I really rely on him for the pulse of our team. And I can't say that we have a set way that we're going to approach training camp. It all depends on the pulse. So the indicators, other than this, has been not good. It's been great, and but tomorrow's another day, and so we just keep pushing forward.
Coach, our next question is on our right down front.
Urban, Todd Porter from the Canton Repository. Can you elaborate at all on reports about Braxton perhaps switching positions, how that came to develop, and what you might expect from him in a new role?
Yeah, I think that was somewhat premature. You know, I think Braxton will play receiver. I've worked with him, and Zach Smith has worked with him. He approached me, I want to say a month and a half ago, and said this is because it was a plan B at the time, because if shoulder doesn't, and he's a smart guy and his family's smart people, and they said, what is the plan B? And after he addressed it, then we dove right into it. And here's the plan B. And so we've been working with him for a good month, how we're without a ball. It's all been footwork. It's all been, you know, because you can condition positions specific, and that's what he's been doing. Feedback I'm getting from guys like JT and Cardell is that he's very athletic, obviously, and he can catch the ball. I've not seen him do that. So I'm anxious to see day one. Day one, I'll personally work with him myself. I was a receiver coach for a long time. So I'm going to work with him myself and see if we can get him ready. Because obviously, I don't think we have, but there's a tendency to forget someone if they're not around for a while. Forget how good he is. And right now, the one thing that I always was concerned about Braxton was his leadership in like the weight room. And he wasn't the ultimate grinder. He's now moved in the top 5, 6 workers in our team. And that's a credit to, he's a serious dude right now, and that's fun to coach those guys.
I'm going to go right here, Coach, and then we'll head to the back of the room.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch. Ohio State, to some degree, always has a target on its back. Obviously, winning the national championship, even more so. What have you done to kind of make sure that your team guards against any issues related to that and embraces that challenge?
Well, it's similar to the question I was asked earlier about there's indicators that you watch very closely. The number one is the academics, number two is social, and the number three is the weight room. Those are all indicators. How's your team doing? And like I said, academically, for the most part, has been excellent. The weight room, and I just go by because I'm not, coaches take some time for themselves in the summer. How are we doing it every day? How are we doing, Mick? How are we doing? And like everybody, they don't have good days and bad days, but it's been overall good. So all we can do is watch the indicators, watch it closely, and then dive into it with a sledgehammer if we start to see something that's disrupting the team. And we dealt with one. And I knew this was coming for a while, and at some point we're going to have to address it, and we did. And the good thing is we have three prayers here, and actually had a little chat with them on the plane about it, and we're going as hard as we possibly can.
Our next question, Coach, is all the way in the back of the room on our right.
Austin Ward, ESPN. Urban, you referenced your history coaching receivers, and with Braxton's athleticism, what is realistic for him to contribute? He's just got a training camp to play a position he's never done before. How quickly can he make that transition? What do you think is realistic for him?
For the average guy, Austin, I'd say it'd be very uncommon to be able to at least right out the gate. He's not common though. He's one of the best athletes I've ever coached. He's got an incredible first step, but above all else, you say it's time to win or lose time, and he's not going to lose. He wasn't a big fan of just lifting weights because we tell you to lift weights, but now he is. So to answer your question, my expectation is he's an impact player.
We'll move to the left side of the room, Coach, in the back for our next two questions.
If you use Braxton as an impact player, what specifically does that mean? Where do you see him fitting in your offense outside of just playing wide receiver?
That's what I don't know. I think we'll know more as we get involved, and I'm not sure I'm going to really share that with you until after week 1, 2, or when the country sees it. So I'm going to. I know what I saw as far as athleticism, but it's the same thing you all saw as an athlete. So I see a great athlete, but what actually he can do, we start I think a week from Sunday, so we'll know more.
In the back middle, Coach.
Urban, Nancy Armour with USA Today Sports. You mentioned indicators with your team, and after you won the national championship in 2008, you had your health scares in 2009. I'm wondering if you've, kind of been watching yourself, because you had said that, changing the way that you coach, the way that you approach the job was a priority when you did take it at Ohio State.
Well, I've been watching it very closely, and others I'm close to have, and it's been great. It's been, I've learned how to delegate, learned how to shut things off when it's time to shut it off and move forward and not concern yourselves with things you can't have control over. So it's been great.
Coach, left side of the room in the middle.
Coach,
Where? To our left in the middle.
with the players who were suspended or the announcement today, I was wondering if you could possibly share what some of the details of the violations and policies that they broke.
I don't think the way I've always done in the past is internal and external is external. So if it was illegal, something that you have to address externally, then I do that. But internally, it was a violation of team policies, and that's as far as we'll go.
Coach, moving over to our right here in the center.
Mark Berman in the Roanoke Times. Obviously, these suspensions affect you, offense, defense, and special teams. Any one of those areas concern you the most in terms of the impact against Virginia Tech?
Probably off the get-go would be, you're arguably one of the best defensive players in the United States of America won't play in that game. So that's the one. I think if we stay healthy throughout training camp and continue to improve, and Braxton, and then you have Noah Brown, you have Michael Thomas, you have Nick Vanette, you have Johnny Dixon, Terry McLaurin, and Paris Campbell, Curtis Samuel. We've recruited pretty good. Now we have to get them ready to go play. And I'll know more as we get going, but I'm not overly concerned at that spot. Obviously, when you lose the big defensive end that everyone knows where he's at, that's a concern.
Coach, now moving again to our left with Teddy.
Hey, Urban, Teddy Greenstein. How you doing? What process are you going to use to determine your starting quarterback, and Are you at all wary of certain guys, favoring one player over the other and like a divide in the locker room, that kind of thing?
I'm not. I shouldn't say that, Teddy. I am. But I like the culture of our team right now, and we're going to play the guy that helps us win. We've already started the process, and that's leadership. I've graded the leadership throughout the summer, academic component of just how they handle their business. And then obviously now we're going to get in. And the way Coach Mick hands me a weekly sheet that we keep a score. So basically we're keeping score of everything. And everything will be obviously multiplied when you start actually adding 7-on-7 mini field, third down periods and all that. So it's going to be I probably, when I say there's not a gut instinct involved, there will be, but there's also going to be a lot of statistical data that we chart and watch very closely. And they've earned that right. You're talking about 2 to 3 very, very invested people and incredible families that, what they did, and I made this comment, this is, to think about this is not, I don't want to say overwhelming, but when you talk about the history of Ohio State football, every one of their names has a prominent role in that history book. And that's real.
Time for one final question. Coach will be right in front of us.
Bill Livingston, Cleveland Plain Dealer. Urban, you've spoken about Braxton as being off the charts, the most dynamic player you've ever coached. You've also spoken about Percy Harvin as your all-time H-back. Is it conceivable Braxton can be that type of player? And does this afford him a chance to make an early mark with the loss of Marshall and Dontre for the first game?
So I'm going to get a text from Percy because I did not say one of the most dynamic H-backs. He's got, we've used that word. I don't want to ever be accused of using that word loosely because Percy's, I don't think I've ever been around a more dynamic athlete. I have not been around a more dynamic athlete. However, you can use Braxton Miller's in the same tonnage of that kind of athleticism. Obviously, Braxton's got a long way to go at that position. So the second part of your question, Bill, about Jalen and Dontre, who are also H-backs, but you have Curtis Samuel, you have Noah Brown, and that position is a critical spot. And we recruit every year with that mentality to make sure that you have several at that spot because that is a premier spot. So I feel very confident that if we stay healthy game one, that'll be a productive position for us.
Thanks very much, Coach.
Thanks.
What was your biggest takeaway as a former head coach?
Well, coaches